right, I'm using my camera. Hello again, everybody. This is Mr. Everything. I'm coming at you with another live stream. What's this on my screen? Looks like injustice.com, whatever. It's an advertisement. All right, so we're going to talk about the production schedule 3.0 that was supposedly released. I haven't had a chance to read this. This is my first go through with it. It's my first go through with you guys. So let's get to it. Let's see, production schedule. Below you're going to find a lot. Okay, now this is the official website. This is their take on what's getting ready to happen, or what's building up, what's the delays, what's the blockers, what the anticipated release times are for each of the different departments, and what they're actually working on and where they are in that process. But I do want to say this. This is all tentative. There's nothing locked in stone. It gives us an idea of where they're at, but things can change. It might be modified, things like that. But let's go through and see what they have to say. Now, this is a copy and paste. They do it on every one of their schedules. It basically just says what I just said. Things can change, okay? And don't hold them to this. This is not an obligation. This is not a binding contract or anything like that. All right, but it does give us an idea of where they think they're at. Okay, and that's everything this says right here. Now here we go. Now I don't know what this video is, but let's go ahead and watch it. Let's watch it together. Oh wow, it's 19 minutes. Okay, I hope you're okay with that, because I'm going to play it. I'm going to watch it. If I go full screen, you won't see that. Not the way I see it, anyway. We'll just leave it the way it is.
I'm Aaron Roberts, and I'm the head of global production for Cloud Imperium Games. My main task is to basically work with the whole of production. We're trying to do something which people just have never done before in terms of the quality and the level and the size of the content we're doing. For me, it's probably the biggest challenge I've ever done in 30 years of working in this industry. And just because of so many moving parts. You know, you have different artists, coders, designers, audio. So when you have so many different people in a lot of different offices, getting something that we can put in front of the community is a massive undertaking, which involves, production staff of, 26, 27 producers who all work together to basically get all the information together to make that schedule.
We usually have our high-level kick-off meetings to actually start planning what our goals are going to be for the game. This typically comes with talking to Chris about what he envisages exactly what we need next.
The kickoff meeting is to define with the directors and the leads and everybody involved what the goal and aim of that particular sprint is and how it ties into the bigger picture.
And then just start breaking it down into, we've got this feature, what are the fundamental requirements of that feature, what are the building blocks.
When we get the feature list or what we're trying to achieve, we basically have to evaluate what do we already have that we don't need to rework, what do we need to rework, and then what do we actually need to create to make this a complete feature.
Say we want to do a new feature for character clothing. Directors sit together and say, okay, what is the feature about? What do we want to achieve with that feature?
Okay, these fundamental building blocks, these are the tasks that are required to make this happen. You can then start actually building in, right, we think this task is going to take this amount of time.
For feature requests, usually we start off with the kickoff meeting. Directors sit together and say, okay, what is the feature about? What do we want to achieve with that feature? And then we build like a list of tasks out of that. Usually we give that to production, and then production puts them all into our Jira system, which is our task tracking software, and then they start scheduling them out and see how they can fit into our timeline.
So then you have this feature that we've worked into a sprint team, and we've broken the task down.
The idea of a sprint is you are working towards one goal within one set period of time.
So a way to think about this is the schedule is like a skyscraper. The floors are the sub-schedules of that skyscraper. The walls are the sprints, or the work being done, and the JIRA tasks are the individual bricks that have built this overarching schedule or skyscraper in this scenario. Engineering does sprints, and there's quite a bit of work to do for this project, and you can imagine on the programming side. If they're doing sprints on their team, like we do here in LA, they'll stay focused again on what are we trying to do this 2 weeks, what are they trying to do these 4 weeks. Tech design does sprints, animation does sprints, even our character team who does waterfall work, they tend to do sprints as well. Just to, again, it allows for that quicker iteration and awareness.
How we've been doing the sprints with the LA team in our engineering has been a little bit more macroscopic. We've been trying to figure out ways to deliver on incremental technology improvement. This is not, delivering a gun or a character animation or, a small feature. This is how do we have systemic support for landing, takeoff, flights, and AI control. It's the same technology, but it's a very big piece of technology. So our sprints, they're a little bit more complicated as a byproduct, simply because of the technology that we're building.
When you look at a massive project or a massive entity, or within engineering, we have a lot of features we're trying to achieve. The larger it is, the more daunting it can become. And sprints allow us to distill that down to a very tight focus. And so if we say this is what that feature is, let's bring in all the disciplines, UI and engineering and programming, all the art teams, and go, here's what the feature is, here's what design has already broken down based on Chris's expectations. After we've had that initial kickoff, they go back and they break their piece, their little piece of that into work. So UI would come up with their UI experience, all the kind of work that they do, and those break down into little individual tasks for people on their team. Say our UI artist has his or her 15 tasks that they've got to work on, but those 15 tasks are for just that person. And now you have 15 tasks for every person on it, and this could be anywhere up to 10, 15 developers. And so they all have 15 tasks, and then you take those and you mesh those up, and that makes that one feature, and then that one feature impacts this aspect of cargo. But then you have these 3 or 4 other features that make up cargo, and those each themselves are broken into 15 to 20 to 30 to 100 tasks, God forbid. And you find that all of a sudden, all of these tasks directly impact the ability to deliver this one feature. And that's just cargo. That's just one.
But we get an initial estimate, an initial bid for that. We might have someone who says, oh, this will take me a week. But we look back and they just worked on something and it only took them 2 days. And it's functionally the same thing. We're like, oh, well, maybe this will only take 4 days.
It's not an exact science. A lead designer may be able to achieve a task in a certain amount of time, whereas a junior designer would be able to achieve a task in a longer period of time, just based on experience. And as production, we kind of have to keep that in mind when we're scheduling.
Let's say it's just engineering and they've got 35 tasks. Those tasks are then given to the individual who's going to work on the work, and they will come up with a bid saying, it should take me 3, 5, 10 days, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever the number is.
We're always doing new things, so a lot of the time, you're just guessing about how long you think something is going to take.
And then once we understand that, the lead validates that number, put it into JIRA. Once that JIRA is created, that goes into project. Once project has all the JIRAs, it then shows you, here's what I need for just this one discipline.
So we'll have kind of 2 estimates that we track against to get these historical data estimates and then the actual estimates.
And then once we have that in one location, we say that's that one feature. And then that one feature makes up the grander whole of Star Citizen. That is a certain number of features that we're trying to drive for our ultimate release.
Let's take one example, cargo.
Cargo is a feature
keep
that
using
we've talked
cargo
about for a long time, and that feature is broken down itself into many sub-features depending on disciplines or if you're running sprints.
The first thing we have to take into consideration with cargo is the inventory feature. We need a way to track and manage that inventory, so we need the UI for that inventory.
You have to think about potentially weight distribution within the ships, which then impacts the IFC model. You have to think about the way that players interact with the cargo, whether that's physically or on a kiosk. So you have to figure out all the subsystems behind the kiosk in order to understand how you're going to utilize cargo, whether it's in your ship or in your hangar or wherever it's going to end up being.
Breaking that out even further, we need to know what the specific actions are and interactions are available for cargo. Can you walk into your cargo bay, pick something up, and take it out? That's another piece of work that we need to schedule. There's other things that need to be taken into account too. How does the ship fly with cargo? How much cargo can a ship have? What types of cargo are available? What happens if you damage cargo? Then you need to consider all the things that interface with cargo. Can you buy cargo? Can you sell cargo? How? Where? Then there's the slightly more esoteric elements of cargo. How do we manage cargo if I, say, take a piece of cargo out of a ship and I leave it on a planet? Is it there for a day, a month, a year, forever? We need to take all of these into consideration, each individual component that touches each other feature. So one feature isn't just cargo. It's cargo, cargo's sound effects, cargo's user interface, cargo interacting with inventory, cargo interacting with everything else in the entire world.
So design basically fleshes out a concept a bit further, and then our engineering team works on a TDD, or a technical design doc, for the implementation in conjunction with the appropriate disciplines and director input.
And so then we take each one of these tasks, we take each one of these work items and their subtasks, and they're all collected underneath their particular epics and group of epics in this feature area. And then these features are all collected into their grand feature plans and feature sprints.
The whole point of a sprint is to get cross-disciplinary work working together in tandem to make decisions together.
It involves multiple people from across the studio. No one team can simply generate a feature in a vacuum. I can't create sound effects with the team that I've got here in Los Angeles. I need the sound effects guys in the UK. I can't do zone system mechanics or change fundamental engine physics. I need the guys in Germany for that. There's team members across the globe who have to have a say, if not an actual direct contribution, to all of these major features.
So when you see that bar that says cargo, it's broken down into an amazing amount of sub-features that have it itself, each individual discipline in JIRA's tasks.
And all of this then stacks back up one piece at a time into this large master schedule, this huge culmination of all the work that's being done, all the work that's being planned across the entire schedule and company.
So each of those individual sub-features or sub-components of cargo impact cargo, which ultimately impact every other large-term feature, which then ultimately impact the overall schedule or when we can deliver it.
If everything goes absolutely perfectly, there's no problems, no bugs, things don't change, and that in real life doesn't ever really happen.
As you're working on it, you might find areas that cause it to take a little bit longer, and we adjust bids moving forward.
We utilize Microsoft Project no matter what database you use to manage your tasks. We try to use that as the main hub. So there's several ways that you can populate Microsoft Project with what we do a lot of our work in JIRA. Our PU engineering director, Paul Reindel, did some amazing Visual Basic scripting for us, and actually he allowed us to make it so we could pull JIRA tasks in per epic into projects so we can do all of our massive scheduling. Once we do all that scheduling in our per discipline or per feature, those all feed up into the grander schedule that can pull from each of them through a really cool feature in Microsoft Project.
What I will say is that no matter what, there's always that unknown. And that's why it's when we're planning these schedules, it's the collaboration I find that really helps the challenge. That collaboration is production working with their directors and their leads.
Well, the interesting thing about scheduling is they're living entities. You can't just say, oh, we made a schedule, we're done. It's, oh, we made a schedule, now we can start. With something the size of the Persistent Universe and Crusader, the first thing you do is you set down what you think you can accomplish, and then you get a reality check.
Moving from our current version of Star Citizen into the new version, there's quite a few hurdles because we're going to put people into a bunch of new systems that didn't exist before. That in itself is quite a technical hurdle. How's all that going to work when we put everything, we merge it all together, and you are doing this seamless transition with all these new systems in play. The moment you add in any kind of new feature or new system, it does always introduce new bugs.
Of all of the planning, estimating bugs is really the most difficult because there's so many variables, so many things could be involved in a bug.
It introduces so many new unknowns that we have to plan for these unknowns. The sprint system, or the 2-week sprint, allows us to kind of iterate quickly and go, hey, I had no idea that was going to break all of this stuff. Did you? Nope. I wish we would have thought of that, but we've never done this way. So let's, we've got to iterate through those bugs as we go.
A wall doesn't look right. That could be in the shader, that could be in the graphics, that could be in the graphics card driver. It could be in the assets and how they're laid out. It could be in the design, or it could be pure gameplay engineering where we set up a Visi area wrong. So bugs are the hardest to do.
It can be complicated because everybody has their own schedule. Everybody has their own specific dependencies. We do work closely with the other departments just to make sure that our schedule aligns with theirs.
And all of these tasks will be completed by one of or by multiple departments, such as tech design, LA engineering, PU engineering, Squadron 42 engineering, characters, ships, tech art, environments, concepts, quality assurance. Well, they won't be completed it, but they'll be doing bug testing on it. And all of these different departments and disciplines, there's none of them that work independent. There's parts of their work they can do independently, but most of them work across multiple studios, across multiple regions, and they all impact each other for better or for worse. And of course, not all pipelines are the same.
Weapons pipeline is a very traditional content pipeline. So what we create is a piece of content. It's a weapon. It's a fairly contained piece of art. There's a lot less unknowns than, for example, when we talk about AI
So building a game this size, which has never been done before, really bears a lot of unknowns for us and for AI systems. If we don't know how we need to break down a goal into tasks, or if we don't know yet how we need to build a system, we really need to start with prototyping and research. Unfortunately, this takes a lot of time, but we really want to make sure we build the best we can.
Actually, scheduling the code has always been notoriously difficult. There's several factors involved with that.
As soon as we know a goal is not that we formulated is probably not going to be met, we start communicating to the directors so they know the goals they set will not be met, and they are informed of what the reasons are. It's nobody's fault, and there's no problem. We just need to figure out how to move forward.
One of the problems we have is competing demands. We've got a finite resource of programmers.
Sometimes you just can't throw extra resources at something. Imagine you've got 2 artists working on a ship, or 3 artists even. You can't just add another 3 artists on one small ship. You don't want to throw too many cooks in, or even too many makers trying to actually just piece something together.
So figuring out when do they have time and do we have the bandwidth is where the complexities then come in.
We've got an animation programmer, for example, so he's actually highly in demand. So you've got this one resource, and then it's really a case of prioritising, what work he needs to do on the different features.
I think on the production side, the hardest part is definitely dealing with making sure that we're delivering the right features at the right time. From there, you have to consider things like dependencies. Like, let's say this track view is a really great example. Well, until we get that track view feature all the way done and complete for the cinematic guys can't do all of their work.
You basically build a schedule, best case, you put in allowances, you put in time for you can take for bug fixing and so forth, and then what you do is you then go through and then on a daily level you track it, and you basically go back to everybody and say how's this going and so forth. Sometimes the dates push, some things get done, some things we pull in early. Typically early's rare in this industry, but sometimes it happens, and then we definitely give the information out. And if you have that information on a daily basis, then you can make calls very quickly. If you're not tracking it as well, and then you don't get information for a week or 2, and then all of a sudden you find out something's not going to work, that's not great, because then you can't fix it.
Every time I look at our feature list and I look at what we're planning to do, you are just taken aback, to be honest. I think that's the encouraging thing about it, that we're always trying to push boundaries. With that comes those huge challenges, right? And I think you always want to be able to say, okay, I've got a plan and we're ready.
So for a project this size, it's really a challenge to align the resources globally.
In this global schedule, we try and stack the order in which we're going to work on tasks.
The biggest challenge with working internationally is just making sure that the teams that are doing the work for us get feedback from us in a timely manner.
So that we get a really good look at where things are going to come in sort of linear order, so we can say, oh well, in this time we expect to do some of these bugs, and we expect to deliver these features and these tasks for these features as well.
It's really about balancing that time difference so that they have everything they need before they start their day, and they're not waiting on us for anything.
There's no way to, in a detailed, granular way, plan out a full project because there's so many unknowns in game development. The schedule is never done. It's always changing, always being amended.
It's just it's just the nature of the business. It's the nature of the unknown. Because in a lot of things we're doing on Star Citizen is just truly groundbreaking. You just don't have a precedent for it. In certain game studios that aren't as front-facing as we are, this kind of thing happens all the time, but you just don't see it. The crowdfunding nature of our project, people see that all the time when that kind of stuff happens.
We have about, conveniently, 42 actual Microsoft project schedules that we maintain across all 5 studios. Each of those schedules not only has the high-level understanding of what those disciplines are doing, but it has each of those disciplines broken down into individual tasks. So when we make a schedule, we have a couple databases. We track our tasks down to the micro level. In our JIRA database, in our lifetime, we have closed 76,196 bugs, tasks, subtasks, epics. We currently have 18,046 currently open. That's 1,015 epics, 10,797 tasks and subtasks open, and 6,131 bugs that are open. So the tasks and subtasks and epics were all scheduled and all planned for. You do have bug fixing time generally, so we do schedule for them. We don't necessarily know what's going to come, but we do try to schedule and plan for completing everything that shows up in that database. When something on our production schedule
That's a lot of
just
bugs.
shows one individual feature, what it doesn't show is the data we have in the back end, which tends to be a matrix that's 4,000 tasks deep and 4,000 tasks long that really makes up this overarching single bar that tells you exactly when we're trying to achieve it. What it takes to actually do anything that we're trying to do, it takes countless hours of people's time to not only establish how long should this take or what it would take to do it, but then doing it and then fixing it, and then we get it out.
I think the important thing is to realize when you don't know the answers yet, and then to give the team time to find the answers. It's a very important part of game development. And if you account for it and everybody is on the same page, then it's really not that big a deal. It's just when you expect every sprint always has to have a feature at the end, and everybody should magically know what they're going to do every day in the sprint, that you run into problems. In video games development, that's just not realistic.
Individual tasks are rolled up into sprints, which are rolled up into epics or features, which are rolled up into our detailed schedule. Just for AI, FPS, or networking, or UI, or graphics, or audio, or engine, or gameplay, and that's just our engineering team. We also have ships, characters, props, environments, including planets, landing zones, space stations, etc. Weapons, cinematics, VFX, audio, both sound and music, design for Squadron 42 and for PU. We have tech art, tech content, tech design. All of this is for all the aspects of both Star Citizen and Squadron 42, which has a schedule that's tracking up to 1,000 tasks. Each one of them are on our up to almost 40 really heavyweight Microsoft project schedules that need to ultimately roll up into S42 and 3.0 PU schedules.
We have so much talent that we have recruited to make this game. It's definitely a challenge to get it all in. We have a lot planned, and I'm really confident that we'll be able to break everything down and get it into the game.
This whole huge project is just like an amazing experience for everyone involved. It's a work in progress, but it's actually a lot of fun for us because we get to build something which has never been built before.
Okay. Basically, all that video said was what they do to make schedules. All right, so let's continue on with this production schedule review here. Okay, the following lists and charts progress towards the releasing of 3.0 with all the remaining major tasks listed. Yeah, 3.0 is the next major patch, basically. They're either feature complete or they've got an ETA for completion. Okay, graphics. Okay, they plan to do a render target refactor. It's going to save 50% of video memory usage. That's good. Lights with shadowing. Okay, they did talk about how they used to use like hundreds of lights to get the result that they wanted. Now they've reduced it down to just like a handful of lights to make the same results, and it looks just as good. And so by doing that, they've reduced the amount of, bandwidth to get all these lights working on your system. Shadow system refactor allows for planetary scale shadows. Okay, in design. Design is kind of like your missions and why things work a certain way. Crusader converted to object container setup. Crusader map was completely redesigned. Each point of interest is now an object container laid out via the solar system editor. This is in preparation for object container streaming and seamless transitions. Okay, good. Because what we're working in right now is one large instance in Crusader. And what they don't want to have one large instance. What they want to have is what they're calling containers. Technically an instance. But you have a container, and they have containers within containers within containers. So like the system would be one large container, and it would have like each planet and its immediate area would be a container. And those containers might hold objects like space stations or ships, and then inside those ships you might have a suit of armor that has you inside. So or your ship might be inside of a bigger ship, so you have like a nesting doll, containers within containers. Okay, now the mega map. Hey Spacewalk, thanks for joining the stream. The mega map for persistent universe is now possible. Okay. Revamp of the power plants, shield generators, and coolers to go into item 2.0. The environment, the modular room system for generating planetary outposts. That's a large amount of stuff that they're doing just for that one little topic. Official outposts, integrated outpost distribution in the Planet Ed, single outpost, cluster of outposts, crash site mission. Nice, nice. Interface to hand place modules and save to layer. Okay, I think what they're saying there is interface to hand place modules. So that basically means I've got a module and I can place it somewhere and then it will save its location there on the layer. But I could be wrong. Interface to teleport to camera, area boxes created by artists. Entrance room system worked. Rooftop prop system working. Okay, that's good. Like solar panels are moving and propellers are moving and stuff. They're just props. Wall prop system working. Again, propellers or little lights working. Okay. Material wear dirt on props using layer blend done and actually and actually working. What are they saying? The other things aren't actually working? This is the only one that's really working? Okay. Development outpost feat system. Developed outpost feat system. I think that means, because if you watch the previous, like around the verse, they had outposts, but when they put them on the ground, like there would be clipping inside, or the doors wouldn't be in the right place. So what they did was they raised them off the ground a little bit so that there wouldn't be any clipping between the planet and the outpost. But that would look weird if an outpost was just hovering. So they made these legs that, you know, it doesn't matter if the leg clips, because who cares? You won't never see it because it'll be so deep in the air, in the ground. Yeah, absolutely. Stairs versus ramps. Yeah, because the ramps, they would have had to been way too long, right? They would have been like super long, so they made these stairs because they'd be shorter. But that's not what they're talking about. So that's part of it probably. Rotation offset caps on planetary. Okay, what? Random rotation and offset caps. Okay, so the possible rotation of the planet offset from the center capacity gaps, I should say, have been edited, as well as the speed of the planet rotating. Okay, 3 possible map layouts looping system. Yeah, okay, they talked about looping earlier. I didn't catch that. Air conditioning solar panel systems on outpost, added color tinting to outpost, added color tinting to interface planet, created material distinction, group elements offset on planet to offset landing pads. Okay, cool. All that's very, very cool. Tool, solar system editor. A tool with layout entire solar system. So basically that's what the developers use to like put things in systems, and with that tool they should be able to populate and build their systems, and I mean solar systems, not like tech systems, a lot faster. Okay, let's talk about performance. New light controller for runtime light switches, so you can go right, or shoot one out, I suppose. New network message queue. Okay. Current and okay. Okay, so basically that's going to speed up the way your computer talks to the network and the way the network talks to your computer. Okay, cool. Light entity render node merging dynamic physics grid to support sparse space areas versus dense areas like space stations. Highly optimized vertex positions, texture memory usage. Reduced across the project, that's good. Unified material, combined, layered texture library, cleanup layer, follow-up list of unused textures. Okay, that's good, because we don't need to have a bunch of textures in the program that they're not ever using. You know, so you should clean that up. Okay, massive improvement of level of display computation for ships. Shared hair assets instead of bespoke asset per head for character creation. Okay, so basically instead, and I think bespoke is one of the power words that CIG likes to use. Bespoke, yeah, they use that a lot, that word. But what they mean by that is instead of head A having hair A and head B having hair B, now you can put hair B on head A. That sounds cool. Automated facial assets. Okay, skinning, rework. Yeah, that was real important when you pick a different head for your body. The skin tone might have been a little bit different, and you would notice the collar change would be changed. So hopefully they got a blend there now. Unified helmet and character mesh, various portal and culling improvements, improved animation data, depreciate thousands of legacy and test assets, including animation, geometry, libraries, and more. Okay, to reduce build size. Good. Basically, what they're going through and cleaning out stuff that they left in the program, but it's not being used by anything. Clean all that out. Automatic asset error collection and tracking. That's good. They got a program in there that's going to let them know when something breaks. 100 megs of texture memory per face. Wait. Updated all assets using human skin to highly optimize human skin version 2 shader. This saves 100 megs of texture memory. Okay. New assets. Okay, we're going to see heavy marine armor and we're going to see explorer armor. Cool. Cloth and clothing simulation of various assets, old and new. So it'll move. Updated helmet interiors. Armor conversion to work with modular customization structure. Okay, what they're trying to say is you get a heavy armor gauntlet, you can put it on your medium armor torso, and then you can use light armor leg pieces or whatever. Explorer armor looks pretty cool. Looks pretty cool. I think I'm still going to be going around in medium marine armor because that's the armor that I own. I own the ORC marine armor, but you never know. It might be one of those things where medium marine armor, you can't wear it while in a cockpit. If that's the case, I'll probably have to have a flight suit or maybe explorer armor or something. But I think explorer armor is also kind of heavy to protect versus hostile elements and alien fauna and flora and all that. Okay, new radar data bank. Okay, this is code. Okay. Subsumption-based functionality. Yay! Let's give it up. Okay. This is the initial release of the foundation technology that drives all the AI missions. Yay! Boom, boom. Dynamic content. That means content will generate on its own. Conversational logic. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing all right. How are you doing? Yes. The mission content previously created with FlowGraph has been replaced, and implementation time to achieve a desired effect has been cut dramatically. Boom. Okay. Various performance improvements. I love how vague that is. Okay. Planetary. But it's okay. Whoops, I'm going too high. Planetary physics grid to support orbiting and rotating planets. Okay. Yep. MFD implementation in item 2, components on ships. Okay. That's basically all your MFDs. Right now, the MFDs are all a little bit too small, especially on my Saber. I gotta go. Oh, that's what that says. HUD visor integration, new radar data bank. Okay. Vehicles no longer use Lua. I'm racking my brain to remember what that is. Sounds familiar. Is that something to do with like a lazy user algorithm? I don't know. Okay. Skeletal extension support for item port offset overrides per item. I'm not sure what that means, but skeleton extension support for item port offset. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, you mean as opposed to like DOS versus what's that other one? COBOL. Okay, so right. Okay. Now let's go back. Yeah. Or I breezed over them. Might not have missed them. But they're on the screen for you to read as well. Okay, numerous types of physics simulation and all items, destructible components for items, props, environment, assets. That's always good. So I can blow up like a garbage can. Okay, nested physics grid support for vehicle transportation inside large ships like the Dragonfly and the Rover. What about the Merlin and the Constellation? Okay, yeah. But I have both a Rover and a Dragonfly and a Carrack. Okay, physics simulation gravity vector now represents planetary gravity. That's good. So you got gravity pointing to the center instead of everybody going to the down. Okay. Modular loadout rule sets support up to 5 loadouts. You might get a rover as a loner. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, I think so. I think they will. Well, I know that they give ships based on the previous ships you have. Like right now, I've got a Constellation Andromeda because I have a Carrack. But once that rover comes in, I bet you they're going to give you the rover as well. That's a prediction. Yeah, animated driven facial audio implementation. Okay, animation driven facial audio implementation. That's good. So I think that's worded poorly. I think what that's trying to say is if your character says something, it'll animate talking. Python integration, zone culling. Okay, culling usually means erasing things. So it'll erase things if you're not there. That's what I think is what it's mean. Or it'll go through and it'll erase anything that's unnecessary and clean it up. And Parasite looks like he's on playing War Thunder. Okay, but that's not this. Okay, let's talk about planetary updates. Yella, most frigid of the moons. Yeah, I guess that's it. And that, I got a finger on it. Ah. Or that's just pictures. But that's not all yellow. Okay, that's not all yellow. Never mind. We'll get back to that. Like the underwater caves. Wait. Oh, I skipped some. Yellow is the most frigid of Crusader's moons. These bold, careless enough to step outside without a spacesuit will be killed instantly. Well, I would think so. I wouldn't think it has an atmosphere. Freezing temperature. If the cold doesn't kill you, then any of the treacherous crevasses that crisscross the planet might. Cryovolcanoes have been known to erupt unexpectedly in such crevasses. Be wary when flying at low altitudes. Despite all of its dangers, there's much beauty to be found in Yellow, like the underwater caves hidden beneath the moon's crust. Might have to go find that. That sounds exploration coolness right there. Okay, Selin. Look at this little geysers. There's one there. Okay, burning with volcanic activity. Selin is the counter of her icy sister. Although the volcanoes have been dormant for hundreds of years, the surface is dotted with thermal geysers that erupt without notice. The largest of such geysers can destroy heavy vehicles. Highly corrosive clouds of gas are regularly released from the moon's surface, creating low visibility and damaging anything caught outside. Nice. There's no motion. Okay. Daymar. FYI, my wife works at Daymar Institute. Just throwing that out there. Daymar's surface is like a harmonic blend of Yella and Selen. Its mountainous surface is reminiscent of Selen's volcanoes, while its craters share a warm likeness to Yella's frozen crevices. Known for its dense atmosphere, wow, it's got atmosphere, thick fog and loose dirt surfaces makes travel difficult. Lightning storms can help illuminate the fog, just don't get stuck in their flash. Crash. That looks cool. I'm just going to watch this stream here just for a second. Rocks look cool. That definitely looks cool. I will walk every inch of these moons. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting down to the numbers. Here we go, the numbers. There's the overall, and then each one of these here have their own section. So let's, as like a overall picture and then the minor pictures. Let's take a look. Today's date, April 15th. So we're sitting right here. Okay, so it looks like the start was April 3rd. That's not true. They started this a lot earlier, but this is probably when they started putting this together. Looks like they'll be done with most of the content in and around the end of May. This is when I predicted. That is super close to my birthday. Just throwing that out there, like 2 days away from my birthday. Okay, so Evocati in June, PTU in June, working on the network. That's kind of the final thing. Got back-end, ships and weapons. So it looks like they'll all be pretty much finished in and around the end of May, and except for these last three. And then, yeah, we'll see. We'll see if this is the right date. We'll see. It might modify. Every week I'll check back and we'll see what changes. Okay, Persistent Universe. It looks like they might be done with the moons. Done. Surface Outposts. Still working on them. Haven't started the Mission Givers. That's going to start in just a couple of days. Monday. Derelict Ships. Started. Debris Fields. Going to start. Delamar Levski stretch goal. Okay, basically what they're saying is that's not a requirement, but if they can opportunity to put it in, they're going to put it in. Delamar Levski is actually from a totally different solar system that they're putting into Crusader. They're taking a fifth planet and putting it into Crusader just for us to play around with. Not Crusader, sorry, Stanton. Stanton is the system name. You got the 4 planets. Let's see if I can name them. Microtech, Crusader, Arc Core, that other one. Stanton? No, it's not Stanton. It's the one that's all devastated. Oh no, I can't remember the 4th planet. But Delamar Levski is the 5th planet that they're going to put in the system. Okay, moons. They've added 3 moons to Creator. They have them, but now you can land on them. And that's feature complete. Boom. Surface Outpost. The new moons will also have outposts. June 2nd. Mission Givers. Miles Eckhart, we've seen him. And Ruto. Alright, so that'll be in May. Dang, ETA, 12 May. That's late. Okay. Derelict Ships, all over the system probably. End of May. Debris Fields accompanying the Derelict Ships. And Delamar Levski, they've added the planet Delamar and the landing zone Levski. Okay. Gameplay. Pick up and carry. And repair. That's a start. They're going to start repair then. Player manned turrets. Atmospheric entry game code. That's going into the atmosphere with your ship. Operator seats. That means there'll be seats, not just on ships, but in stations that you can go to and sit down at and work the systems. Radar systems, inventory system, game code for cargo, flight control systems, cargo game mode engineering. Okay, so they really got a lot of work on that. They haven't even started it looks like. Fuel refuel. Well, they've already been working on that. That's done. We're using the fuel refuel. Power supply pipes, quantum drive, insurance. Ooh, commodities like what all the cargoes are. Stamina. We've seen some examples of the stamina. Hurston, thank you, Spacewalk. Stamina, we've seen that already, that if you run, you get exhausted, you get tired, you can't vault anymore, or you know, like when you're fresh, you run up, you jump over a fence, you know. But now when you're going to run up and you're going to be like, oh my gosh, let me see if I can get over this fence. Doors and airlocks, item 2.0, and kiosk. Okay, that'll all be done, again, end of May. Introducing cargo, so you got to figure it out, right? Ship conversion, part 1. Item 2.0, okay. They're going to begin the process of converting all the ships over to item 2.0. It's not going to happen immediately. And this just gives me blah, 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 what I just said with ETAs. Okay, insurance. This will be the alpha version of insurance where our current ship becomes damaged beyond repair. You will be able to request a replacement ship with basic loadout from the insurance provider. Okay, stamina. We are continuing stamina, cause loss of breath, difficulty aiming weapons. Right. Doors and airlocks. Right now, the door and the airlock is just for show. You walk up to a door, you open it, it plays an animation, you go in, you close it, you push a button, it plays an animation, you go outside. Has nothing to do with space. Because right now, if I'm in my tighty-whities and I am able to clip through the wall, I don't die because there's no vacuum in space. Okay. But when the doors and airlocks happen, I guess air and item 2.0, air will actually move from location to location, and airlocks will be important. They'll be contained within containers. Yeah, so like if a wall blows out, all the air will get sucked out, things like that. That'll be cool. But I bet walls won't blow out very easily. Because, yeah, for reasons. VFX and turbulence to atmosphere reentry. Persistent ensures that your vehicle state is saved between sessions. That's important because right now I play, I blow stuff up, I shoot all my missiles, let's say, and then I log out, I log back in, I got all my missiles again. Inventory will allow you to manage your cargo and commodities that are being carried on the ship. Yep, we know that. Okay, core tech. Planetary tech, almost. Solar system tool, right? Entity update, component shader, entity owner manager, that's all geek speak. Okay. Here it is. Will allow lower priority entities, those further away from players, to be updated less frequently. Yep, okay. So you don't like, yeah, gotcha. So the items near you, your computer will get that information about them because it's pertinent to your character. But if something's halfway across the galaxy, your computer doesn't need to know that. Okay, the UI. This is something I'm not the UI. The AI is the one I'm most excited about. But let's talk about the UI. Kiosk UI. Okay, that's good. That means we can walk up to a kiosk and order our ship or order our weapons or whatever. Inventory system. That way, when we're on our ship, we can check our inventory. That's cool. Item 2.0. Okay, field of view slider. Okay, we've seen that on day before yesterday's show where they showed, or I guess it was this afternoon when they were doing the Vandal Swarm. One of the players had his field of view way back. So he could see more of his surroundings, and then I think DJ Knight, he had his field of view way up, and so he was very limited, very blinders. But the advantage of that is you're able to see all your MFDs a lot clearer. You just don't see everything around you. But the guy that had his field of view way back, he was also using track IR, so he could look around and stuff like that. So I don't know. I'm excited for that, but I'm also could care less. I would rather everybody have the exact same field of view, and I don't understand why field of view is important to people. Well, let me back up. I know why it's important to people, because they want to get every little advantage they can, but when everybody can do it, it's not an advantage. You know, so it's just a feature. So I don't understand why they're putting that as a feature. Yeah, I don't know. To eliminate the fact that it's an advantage for some people that hack the code or go into their user profile and put FOV, you know, at 120 or whatever. That's what I used to do in MechWarrior. But that's not that good in MechWarrior either, because if you're in an Atlas, you know, and you back your head up, your cockpit window is like super small. So, okay, character customization, personal manager app, cargo manifest, all this stuff is Star Map app. Okay, I guess that goes on your Mobiglass. Here's your Mobiglass overhaul, stretch goal, cargo UI, mission manager app, UI owner component for items. Okay, well that's pretty cool. Kiosk UI, MFDs are being converted to work with a new item to and give even more control of your ships. Okay. Nice. Okay. We customize your characters' heads, hair, color, skin. So we'll be able to do some character customization. That'll be good. The app will allow players to review customize redesign of the mission app. After buying items, the kiosk player will head to their ship and check their cargo manifest. Very closely linked to the cargo manifest will be the place to look at your personal inventory. Good. Finally, we'll have a player inventory. Instead of having to go to an external camera and go around my body to see what I have on me. Because that's what I have to do right now. Right now I hit F4 twice, hit Z, and pan around to see if I've got a rifle or a shotgun or how many grenades I'm carrying, and do I have any med pens or pistols. I guess now, with the inventory system, I'll be able to check my inventory. Mission board. Okay, well, we already have a mission board, but they're going to revamp it. Star map. They can see the PU at large and select planets to quantum travel to. Instead of, that's good, because that way, instead of me hitting the B button and taking my cockpit and looking around, where is that freaking ICC probe? Oh, there it is, and then quantum travel. I should be able to open up my map, find the ICC probe, click on it, and then my ship just immediately turn and that will be cool. Okay, cargo UI, Mobiglass overhaul. Yes, nice, done. Mission system AI and AI turrets. Okay. The overall tool we use to create mission flows when we start building missions like patrol, assassination, smuggling, etc. We are adding the ability to AI to operate turrets in Crusader. We are working to make sure that they track fire upon the correct targets. Graphics. Most of the graphic stuff goes pretty quick. Live environment probe capture. Render to trails and contrails. Flying in the atmosphere, that is. Volumetric fog. GPU particle. Whoa, I didn't mean to click that. Sorry. Boop. Okay. Okay, render to texture. This will allow a user to go forward or focus on improve the UI rendering. Allow us to maintain fidelity and save hard drive space. Okay, good. Balanced lighting and reflections, updated dynamically. Our graphics team is working. Yum. Yeah, back end. Solar system shop service. Solar system mission service. Diffusing subset. Okay, yep. Yep. And so the mission dictates missions are being offered at various locations and at what price. Okay, so basically it's going to keep track of the economy and like how much it should offer for a mission and things like that. This service will split into two for 3.1, and the later functionality becomes the responsibility of dedicated dynamic content service. The network, the new message queue, physics serialization, and the network bind. Ship weapons. Ships and weapons. The Dragonfly. Yay. I regret buying it. It was cheap. I'm probably gonna, I don't know what I'm gonna do with it. I've got it. It's gonna be my motorbike flying around on planets and stuff. Could have got it in game, but I held back the game, you know. Constellation Aquila. Okay, because this. Ooh, wait. The Gallant rifle. P8SC. Yeah, the P8SC is not the P4. The P4 is the short one. The P8 is the long one. It's one that we haven't seen yet. We've seen pictures of it. We just haven't had it in our hands. Ursa Rover, the Prospector, the Aquila. I fully suspect that if you have a Carrack, you're going to be given an Aquila in your hangar. And in the Aquila, this is going to answer part of that question you had before, the Aquila has the rover in it. So you're going to be getting a rover because you're getting an Aquila as the replacement for your Carrack. And yeah. Hey Joshua, you skipped, you missed it. But right here is the AIM date that they're planning on releasing it. Just so you know. June 29th. June 29th. That's the expected release date. And remember, that's the AIM date. That's not set in stone. But if you go back and watch my video at the beginning of the year, January, or was it December? I put a video out saying June. I said June or July, actually. And I feel redeemed. Like I wasn't over exaggerating, or I wasn't pushing it out too far, and I wasn't saying, oh, it's going to be next month. You know, like some people were saying 3.0 is going to be out in January. And I'm like, whatever. Yeah, it'll be out sometime this year. The rover, ground exploration, yay. Aquila, yay. We all know what all these are. But let's get down to the P8. Okay, P8, oh, submachine gun. High rate of fire. Okay, maybe the P8 is the short one. Because there is like this little... Because if you go and you look at the bearing lineup of rifles, there's like 8 of them. They have the... And these are all ballistic. So you got the pistol, you got the submachine gun, you got the carbine, which is what the P4 is, or it's the one we're using now. And then they have the actual rifle. Then they have the marksmanship sniper type rifle. It's not a sniper rifle. It's like a mid-range rifle, a lot like maybe an M14. It's in the middle. And then they have the long sniper rifle. It's going to be a ballistic sniper rifle, you know, like your Barrett, whatever. And then they're going to have the a man-packed machine gun as well. They got this fully automatic belt-fed type, spray the room kind of long-range, heavy caliber machine gun, which would be cool for a squad. Okay, serialized February, March, April. I'm not sure what all this is. Not really worried about all this. Beyond. Click here to download. I don't know if I want to do all that. Oh, right, there it is. Heavy machine gun. Yeah, what do we got? The Omni Arrowhead Sniper, Rework Devastator, and then the Railgun, and then the Gallant Rifle. I'm not sure which one the Gallant is, but I'll have to check that out. And then that's the heavy machine gun. Plasma beam modular sets. Crossbow. They promised it. They promised crossbow from day one, since the crossover with whatever game that was. P8SC. What dates are these? Okay, April and May. Throwable weapons, that's like knife melee. Female player locomotion, lockdown and knockdown and knockbacks. Planetary FPS ambush missions. Recovery missions. Piracy missions. Patrol missions. Cargo version 2, that's going to be in August. Room system. Ship-to-ship refuel system. Shroud of the Avatar, that's exactly right. Thank you. So you're on top of it. Takedown, front, sides, and rear. NPC generation. Spawn bundles. Okay, the spawn bundles are important for the guys designing the missions, because then they can just pick what type of things spawn. Criminality bumps. Assassination missions, patrol missions, smuggling missions, defense missions. Okay. Shouldered weapons, that's like the railgun. Okay, let's see some other stuff that I'm kind of interested in. Stamina, yeah, personal, yeah, A lot of this stuff is actually talked about. Armed FPS weapon equipped. Cargo manifest. A lot of this we already just talked about. This section right here, the one I'm looking at. Anvil Hurricane. Looks like June. Vanguard Harbinger. 890 Jump. Looks like it won't be done till March of next year. Where's my Carrack? Where's my Carrack? There's the Terrapin. Hull C. Hornet, Phoenix, Freelancer. Carrack. Balls. Damn, I'm going to have to wait a year to see that thing. Crap. That's June 11th. It's not June 11th because this calendar goes month day, where the calendar here goes day month. No, that's month day. Okay. Okay, maybe that, no, like month day, right? Month day. Month, yeah, November 6th. Sucks. But that's just when it starts. Yeah. Yeah, I know. 2018. Balls. Okay, 3.1 goals. Truck stops, Area 18, FPS, takedowns. We just looked at all this. Fuel, diffusers, elevators, ships. 3.2. Oh, they're pushing the planets back. Oh, they're pushing the planets. I thought when 3.0 hit, we were going to get all the planets. We're not. We're just going to get moons. That's a big change for me. We're not going to get Area 18 in our core until 3.1. And we're not going to get Crusader, Hurston, or Microtech, and Microtech's a stretch, until 3.2. Drowning. Drowned? Cooperative? I bet you that means co-op. I bet you they're missing an O. Cooperative avoidance? Cooperative. Maybe it's a word, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't know. Okay, Gas Giant Tech. Star Map 2. Ships. Yeah, my ship's not even on there. Dang. I got my Saber early, so I feel good about that. Alright, so what do you guys think? Guys got any questions? Have any, yeah, we might get Del Mar, because that's one of the stretch goals for 3.0. You're absolutely right. That is Delamar Levski stretch goal. Should be done soon. So that'll give us 2 planets to fly back and forth from. We'll be able to go from, but Crusader's not a planet we'll land on. We'll be going from like the moons of Crusader or the area around Crusader, Port Olisar or whatever. We'll be flying from there to Levski, and probably landing on the three moons, Yella, Selen, and Daymar. All right, guys. Well, that was the rundown of all the content that I see. Yeah, that's right. 3.2. That's what it says. That was the content reviewed, and you saw it in the live stream. If you missed any portion of this live stream, it's going to be up on YouTube in just a second. You'll be able to watch it from the beginning. And that was a lot of good information, and it opened my eyes to a lot of things. So look for it at the end of May, beginning of June. It won't be released live to the public until the end of June, if everything goes to plan. Thanks, Flag. Appreciate you doing that. Yeah, there's so many points. This was probably one of the longest production schedule reports out there. So, and there's a short video where they talk about scheduling and stuff, which you could just skip past that part, because that just talks about how they make schedules. A lot of good information. All right, guys, thanks for coming out and checking out this video. I appreciate you guys. I love my community. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments. And if you want to help support the channel, please hit the PayPal me link in the description below. Every bit helps. What I'm getting ready to do now is I'm going to jump on with Paraset, and we're probably going to go play some War Thunder. And I'll be back probably in about 5 or 10 minutes playing that. See you then.